Welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And I'm Dave, and it is the I've billed this week as the Andy Dick Thanksgiving Spectacular because we didn't have time to get to Andy Dick's interview last week. But so to kick off the spectacular in truly spectacular fashion, we have from California the great Bob Forrest.
Here I am. Give thanks, everyone. I'm so grateful, Dave. So grateful for my life.
Well, you're not feeling the Thanksgiving Spectacular vibe?
No, it's a fucking nightmare like everything else.
Well, Bob has just endured one of the great plagues of the West Coast, which is these fucking brush fires. Are they brush fires?
Apparently we just don't rake the leaves up around here, apparently, is what I'm hearing. So we'll do that, and then I guess we'll be good. But, yeah, there was some brutal wildfires, like one up north that hundreds of people died in. And then down here in Southern California, there was two, actually. And the one people most heard about is this Woolsey fire that burned most of Malibu's hillsides. Not really the ocean part of Malibu, but Malibu is very hilly too. And so a lot of the rehabs, our rehab, Aloe, had some houses that burned down, and a lot of treatment centers, Cliffside, completely burned down, I heard.
I heard it was because God hates the recovery industry. No?
Yeah, well, so do I. So that's the silver lining. But you know, it's just the craziest thing you ever seen. Like, these fires travel like at 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. The winds are so gusty, and like Evan, my partner, and I were watching the news at 6 a.m. talking on the phone, and it was 17 miles away. And so Evan kind of is much more responsible than I am, and he and Jared, our other partner, just said, let's just evacuate, and then if we come back, we come back. So we evacuated at like 8 in the morning, and by 4 in the afternoon, all the houses were burnt down.
Wow.
It was crazy. You don't have that in New York City, do you?
No, we don't. I mean, no, we do not have that in New York City. But you were talking about it. I was actually on, I don't know when that show is going to air, but I was on Bob's show this week, and we were talking about it, and he kind of described the addicts as being like the greatest possible candidates to handle an emergency.
They
like
are.
That.
I mean, you know that. We're the best when things are going crazy. It's afterwards. I'll tell the story of a really good friend of mine from New York City. This guy is a lifelong junkie. I won't mention his name because, you know, his family or whatever.
Is it John Frusciante?
No.
Okay.
He's a New York City guy. And he was in a bunch of bands. He was in some really cool bands, but he was always my junkie buddy since like 85, 86, right?
Okay.
He lives across the street from the World Trade Center. He works in a restaurant near the World Trade Center, right? So he's there when it all happens, watches buildings come down, watches the first building come down, just starts walking uptown like thousands of people did, and kind of survived that, and you know, helped a lot of people, like was evacuating people uptown and helping, you know, get food for the for the firefighters in the days afterwards, for the you know, the emergency response people down there. They were down there for days. And he's just like an upstanding citizen, handling shit like nobody else but a junkie can. Then I played a concert there, and he came, and he goes, I go, what's going on, dude? And he goes, it's the greatest thing, man. I got all this federal money from my apartment buildings condemned, and I get all this relief money from my job being, you know, because there was a lot of federal funding that went to the destroyed areas, right?
Yeah.
So he gets this windfall of monthly money for his job being dislocated by the Twin Towers, by 9/11, and he gets this relocation check for like $40,000, and he's just telling me, this is the greatest, you know, it's a horrible thing that happened, but this is the greatest thing, and people are really looking out for people and all this kind of stuff. And 4 days later, he was dead of a drug overdose.
Wow.
And and how junkies are, he was just saying, this is like, I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened, and it was traumatic and horrible. But the silver lining is that they, there's all this federal funding, and I got all this money, and I don't have to work, and you give a junkie
too much
a little
money,
downtime, a little boredom, a little kind of nothing to do, and some money, and catastrophe can happen. But when catastrophe happens in their lives, we're always at our best.
Right, they can rise to the occasion because they're used to. Because you have to keep a level head in the crisis of not holding. You know what I mean?
Our brains function in a different way under stress. We are best under stress. I mean, that is a quantifiable medical neurobiological fact. It's that we can't handle everyday mundane bullshit.
Right. We're always seeking some sort of crises.
Yeah, so I think we have to trick ourselves into believing that mundane bullshit is just so great, and we're so grateful for it. I think I've never been one of those people. Mundane bullshit is mundane bullshit, and you just deal with it. I don't try to make it into some self-help Twitter feed.
Right. Do you crave chaos when things are chill for you?
Well, I think working in the recovery industry is just living on the edge all the time, and I've been doing it for 20 years. Like, it's pretty chaotic.
Bob, real quick, though, at 9/11, everybody was running uptown. I was running downtown to get methadone. I had to cross 14th Street. Like, I was literally like, people were running uptown like salmon swimming upstream, and I was walking down 8th Avenue, and I got to 14th Street, and there were tanks on 14th Street, and there were like all the National Guard with the fucking machine guns. And I was like, they were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got to get across the street. And they were like, nobody goes across the street. And I was like, I don't think you understand. My methadone clinic's across the street. Because my methadone clinic was on 13th Street and 7th Avenue. So I had to show my methadone ID, and they like waved me through with machine guns. And in the methadone clinic, it was just business as usual. You know, it was like it wasn't 9/11 in the methadone clinic. Yeah.
No, my friend, he only went up to 6th and 1st Ave.
Right.
And just hung out there, and then went back downtown on 9/11.
Yeah.
Just trying to help and trying to see what's up and try to get into his apartment and all kinds of, like, it was chaotic, and he was at his best. And then what the normal world thinks is, oh, these people need relief, and these people need, federal funding, and they need checks so they can get an apartment in Nyack or whatever. And he just spent it all on dope and then died.
Right. And that's like more often than not. But I want to get back to...
That's what I said about the fire. So I have a lot of non-addicts that work in treatment these days. It's kind of the new thing. And so they're always kind of amazed. And I said, listen, everything's going good. The first night that we knew we couldn't go back, and staying in an Airbnb, all the clients, and then or stayed in a hotel, then stayed in an Airbnb, and then moved to a location that we've secured now in West LA for ongoing. The staff who were non-addicts were just amazed. Nobody ran off and got high. Nobody was panicked or crying or weirded out or angry or feeling unsafe. Everybody was cool. And then I did group 3 days later with all of them, and everybody was cool and everybody's focused. It was most focused on sobriety and life and present. I had done a group at Aloe in a long time, right? You got like 30 people really dedicated to sobriety, on fire, loving each other. That community the junkies get. The gratitude was really strong during the fire. It was really heavy. Right. It was really, I could feel it. It was tangible, and it inspired me, right? But then I've been around this a long time. When I was walking out and I was talking to the staff, I was like, you better watch out tonight and tomorrow and the next day. Because some of these people are going to try to smuggle drugs in. Right. Right? Or they're going to get malcontent, or they're going to get, because that's the nature of the neurobiology and personality of addicts. We're best under stress, and we're not good at dealing with everyday life. And it's always a boomerang. If you have a night of amazing gratitude and the community coming together, the next day it's gonna something is gonna shift. Yeah, and I think Chris, I every time I think about Dopey, I think of you first because I met you and whatever. Then I think of Chris, and I think Chris was striving to act like he was a normal person that was dealing with everyday mundane subjects. Like, do you know how fucking boring MFT school is? It's fucking retarded boring.
Yeah, he was telling me all the time. He was telling me all the time how, like, he would always say that he was in school because he really wanted the letters after his name. You know, and,
right.
And in his mind...
A real junkie just puts them on there. What do you need to go to school for?
Well, he had a lot to prove, man. You know, he really did.
You know what I'm saying?
No, of course. But that's Chris, you know? That's Chris.
But I think that there's something that we don't fit in that world. We don't. I mean, we can operate there, we can work there, we can work alongside normal people, but we're not them. We're not normal.
Exactly.
We're not them.
Exactly.
I think that's a dangerous thing. And you got the psychiatric world telling you are normal. You know, you're just, normal. You have, what is it called? The thing that they're calling it now. You have substance use disorder.
Yeah.
Substance use disorder.
I didn't know I had substance use disorder. I thought I was just a drug addict. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and people don't like pejorative terms, and we live in these weird duality times, right? Where you got this brutal lies and misguided interpretations of society, and then you've got this idealized bullshit of society, and somewhere in the middle is reality.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's very partisan views of society. I think society has lots of beautiful things in it and lots of compassion and lots of great things, but I also know that there's a lot of ugliness, and I also know that people don't have to always think and say what I think they should think and say. That's what's great about a pluralistic society. Like you can be dumb, or you can say whatever you think. That's what's great about it.
Or you can disagree. You can disagree.
You're dumb.
Right. Well, that's true.
What's great about it. But on the left, you can't think people are dumb. That's pejorative. That's negative. You know what I mean? And we've just become this fantasy land. And I think junkies are pretty good at sorting things out and knowing what is reality. You know, reality is life is pretty boring most of the time, and you got to get used to it.
Right.
You know? And the joys that I get out of things are like, mostly involving my kids, because it brings you back into a state of childlike wonder. Like when you have 2-year-old and 8-year-old, it's like a constant state of the 8-year-old's trying to act like an adult, and you're constantly trying to regulate that, and then the 2-year-old's kind of living in Snow White land.
Well, like I have the infant, the 6-month-old, who's like just kind of like starting to smile and laugh a lot. And the 8-year-old, like, is trying to, like, figure out how Shark Tank works. And she's like, Daddy, what would a 30% stake in this company really do for me?
Right. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to a concert tonight. Me and Elvis, just Daddy Elvis night, going to see his favorite artist, is Billy Isley.
Well, that's tonight.
Yeah, it's tonight we're going. And you're constantly, trying to help him stay a kid, and then you're also trying to bring more of a reality-based kind of thing to my 2-year-old's life, because she'll just climb up on the roof and stand up there and think she can fly because she loves Peter Pan.
Right.
You know what I mean? Kind of like every morning we have to listen to hi ho, it's off to work we go, and that joy that is raises our spirits as parents. I really believe that if I didn't have children, I don't know that I would have stayed sober. Yeah. I really believe that. Yeah.
And yet there's still there's all those people out there that don't, I mean, the rules are always funny, because there's so many people out there who do stay sober and don't have kids, and then the worst scenario are the people who have kids and can't stay sober. I mean, For me, I'm exactly like you are. Like, my sobriety, like, was really solidified by becoming a parent personally. Like, that gave me, like, it gave me something to really like, in my sober life, and it gave me something to build on.
Well, I think I have friends that don't have children, and they often have dogs, and they treat their dogs like children.
Yeah, that's creepy.
So whatever it is that, well, yeah.
This is my daughter. Her name is Spunky. She's a golden retriever.
But you have to be responsible to the other. You know, the only reason we exist is because we regulate with each other. The sense, like, I always love this quote, like, I did go to college for a long time. I never achieved anything, but I did go. And Socrates said that once we get society's daily needs met of security and food and, you know, the basic necessities of existence for all of society, then we'll get down to the business of what's really important, which is what is the meaning of all this?
Right.
What is my relation to the other? What is really going on here? And what's fascinating to me is that's really not what people do when they have their needs met. They get tribal and divisive and envious and
greedy,
jealous and greedy, and it's such a, I think he had a higher, like a flighty opinion of humanity. And what we've seen over the last 1,500, 1,800 years is this just base, disgusting kind of quality that humans have, right? But I'm interested in those things. Of what is my relationship to you and to Chris and to Chris's fiance and to my wife and to my ex-wife and to my kids and to Evan and Jared, and what is all this?
Right.
What is character? What is love? You know, those are things that I think I'm more interested in than oh, you know, I'm grateful for, you know, being sober and having a job. No, I'm grateful to be able to think about important things.
So are you saying that my Thanksgiving Spectacular is a bunch of bullshit, Bob? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I mean, I used to go to meetings every Thanksgiving because my sponsor insisted on it. And just to sit there and listen to a bunch of idiots just talk about what they're grateful for, it's just depressing.
Dude, I went to
roof over their head and all this kind of stuff. Like, come on, you're fucking lying. The same person who tells you they're grateful for a roof over their head, if you go to coffee with them afterwards, they'll talk shit about their friends who are successful.
Right.
Because so they're jealous and envious and think they didn't get their fair share and whatever. I just like the real. I like real shit.
I went to a meeting this morning that you would have, I mean, you got to, when you come to New York, next time you come to New York, you got to go to this meeting with me. It's an old place. You probably have been there, the Mustard Seed. And
where is it?
It's on 37th Street between Lex and Park.
I just have never gone above 14th Street.
Dude, this place is like, it's a time warp, Bob. It's like 1957 in there, and like it's like all beginners meetings. And like the whole meeting was everybody sharing of under 90 days, and like the bathroom has a fucking tub in it. Like, it's fucked up place, and it's really dirty, and it's really old. And the dudes were just like, you know, the first guy was just like, I went to my meeting yesterday, and when I left the meeting, I went to the bar. At the bar, the chicks all wore hot pants and halter tops, and they were really hot, but I'm not. And it was this old guy talking about bouncing from one shelter to the next, and it was just one after the other, like the oldest school or most old school alcoholic junkie shit. And it really, like, I felt like, because I have my own problems, you know what I mean? Like, my life is not perfect, but to hear that real raw early stuff, it just it reminds you of what we do have, you know what I mean? Like, I fuck a million things up,
right,
but like to be in that room with these guys who have like a day, and they're like, you know, they're grateful to be there, you know what I mean?
I
like,
get that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the people with long-term sobriety.
No, I get it. I'm saying you would have gotten a kick out of it, though.
Yeah,
I know you would.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I just like real things. I like real honesty, and whether I agree with it or not, I just like the truth. And, you know, that is becoming rarer and rarer. Everybody's just kind of lost their way. And I really do believe that most of life is about fear of living a meaningless existence. And people don't even catch on that they're living meaningless existences while they're living it.
You think most people are afraid of living meaningless existences?
Yes.
And how does that manifest, though?
Manifests in being obsessed with money, for one thing.
Because the money will give them meaning, you're saying?
Yeah, it gives them meaning or purpose or importance or something like that. And the society is becoming more and more about wealth and money and success and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And my dad was very successful, and he killed himself. So I don't know that my whole life I just haven't understood a very profound thing, which is having all this stuff and having money and all that is certainly not the most important thing or key to everything.
Bob, I love the way you go in and out. Like, you dip out of my Thanksgiving Spectacular and you kind of walk on the outskirts only to be even more Thanksgiving-ish. It's like, it's amazing. It's
listen, Thanksgiving is, as you know, I don't like that we get all hyped up about certain days, right? I live in thanks for my children's health every day. I give thanks for it.
Right.
I have a friend whose child is very sick, and I just love her and her wife, and I just love their child.
She's a major Dopey fan, Tatiana.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's major. We love her, too.
So I love that. And you know, and I just do anything for them, anything I can. And I, you know, a long time ago when I was pushing we got to help drug addicts, a friend of mine said, you know, we should help pediatric AIDS kids too, don't you think? And I was like, holy fuck, I'm so blinded by all this kind of sobriety stuff. I'm not even seeing a bigger picture.
Right.
Like, of course we should. And the part of the big book that I was focused on when I started branching out and looking at the world in a different way was that it says this program is a design for living, a bridge back to the real world. And I realized I was 5 years sober. I didn't live in the real world. I lived in the fantasy 12-step world.
Right.
I'm a big shot. I'm important. I'm such a good helper of people. Like, no, there's a lot more helping that you could be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
all I do is make this stupid podcast. I don't do anything. I serve food and make this stupid podcast.
Let's not minimize this podcast. This podcast is how me and my friends talk all the time. And then even myself, I mean, I certainly am not, I don't talk about how great drug using was and how funny rehab was all that much, you know, in a 12-step world, right? But me and my friends, we all lived it with each other, and we joke about it all the time. Like, there was one time, so my friend Robert has been sober for decades now, and he's in the song, serial song of The Bicycle Thief of my band. Right. He's my friend Robert, right? Uh-huh. So one time, Robert's girlfriend, who's now a drug counselor and married to somebody else, says, you know, talks to my girlfriend at the time, Max, and says, is there any way Bob can get him to go to rehab? So then I was only like 8 months sober. And so I go over to the house, and he's shooting coke, and he's all tweaked out. I'm like, so, dude, I want to take you out to American Hospital. And he goes, okay, well, tomorrow, okay. And then, you know how coke shooting people are? He had to go get donuts. Like, in the middle of shooting coke, he's like, do you want a donut? And I was like, I want, you know, and you just want to get out of that room because the syringes are there and the coke's there and the blood's there. Sure, let's go get donuts. Right. So we go get donuts, and he's looking through trash can. You know how weird it is walking for 2-3 blocks with somebody going to get donuts who just shot coke for 8 hours. Yeah. I can imagine. So, I don't think I was in that exact situation, but I can imagine. I'm with you. But, you know, he's just stopping and everything, and then he's looking behind us, and, you know, and I keep having to reassure him, everything's cool. Like, let's go to the donut shop. We go to the donut shop, we get donuts, we go back, and he goes, okay, so tomorrow you're going to take me? And I was like, okay, yeah. So I go back the next day, pick him up. He's in pretty much the same state, and and he's got a little bit of heroin that he's got to do so we can get in the car and we can go.
Right.
So then he's all over the place emotionally and psychiatrically. So I help him load the dope up, and
you have 8 months.
8 months over,
Yeah.
and I just on a mission from God. There was
Right.
no desire to be like that, right? So get him to do the dope, get him in the car, drive him out to Pomona, which is about 35 miles outside of LA. And then on the way back, the guy and I who drove him out there, the car breaks. The transmission goes out, and we're sitting at this Holiday Inn parking lot by the 10 freeway, and then we get his car towed to a transmission place, and then we get somebody to drive out from LA to pick us up, to drive us back to LA, and I get home, and I say to my girlfriend, and because this is before I had a cell phone, so I was calling her with a payphone, from a payphone, and I said, well, at least he's there, and she goes, no, he's not. And he somehow, we got him checked into the rehab, said goodbye to him, stopped at the liquor store, got him 2 packs of cigarettes, said goodbye to him, and it took us probably 6 or 8 hours to get back to LA with the broken car and towing the AAA to the place and all the BS and getting somebody to drive out and pick us up. And he had beat us back to LA and was back in his apartment shooting coke.
That's a good addict for you, right?
That's the only people for me. I'm only interested in people like that.
Right.
Like that is, and he thought I was mad at him. I'm like, not mad. I was just laughing. Like, this is just amazing. That's like something I would do. That's like something Chris would do. That's like something you would do. That's like something Anthony would do. That's like everybody I know would do. And so, but when you've never been like that or don't understand that, or you take that all personal, which is what I see, I definitely see, an intolerance of relapsers in people who don't have a primary drug of choice of opiates. So like cokeheads will get really mad about a junkie doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or alcoholics will get really mad. Like, when are you going to get serious about this program? I go, dude, how much more serious do you think this motherfucker is? He's wanting to get help. He goes all the way to the trouble to get out there. He just can't hang. And leaves and then calls me and wants to go to a meeting. Like that. Can you imagine the madness of that?
Well, that's it. And that's the whole story right there. That's the story.
That's Dopey in a nutshell.
Exactly.
To tell the stories of that. And it's very reassuring to hear those stories because most of us are like that.
Here, Bob, I want to read you something real quick. It's a note from this guy, Jeremy at 7 Cycles. He says, Dave, I need help. Wife and I have been on subs since like 2012, and then yesterday, all of a sudden, our doctor died.
Doctor, I know this guy.
You know this guy?
I know this guy. He sent me the same thing.
Oh, it's a good one, right? Left us no scripts, no recommendations, no doctors,
this happened
no
like
script.
4 months ago.
It happened right when Chris died, and I never read it. No script. Now we are fucked. We have a family, one autistic child who's 13. I work. She watches Drew. We rely on subs to maintain. What do you do when your doctor dies and your Suboxone script comes to a screeching halt? We've been calling Suboxone doctors in town. 1, 2, 3 month waiting list. And the Doan clinics are $500 here in Spokane, Washington. 3-month waiting period for insurance candidates. Anyways, bro, big fan. Who do I talk to? Who do I call in this crisis and time of need?
Well, let's talk about Suboxone for a second because I have a lot of friends that are on it. Insurance doesn't cover it. If you're on 8 milligrams, insurance is only going to cover 2 weeks of that.
Right.
That's what a lot of my friends are coming up against. So you're forced to go to the black market.
Right.
And at this point, I think you just have to find a good connection almost the same way as dope. Medicaid doesn't pay for it at all. It's all a lie. It's big pharma wanting to make billions of dollars off of drug addicts. That's all it is. And there's such a huge black market of it that I just suggest that you just get a good connect and just buy it from them. And why fucking pay $280 for health insurance? It doesn't pay for shit.
But what do you do? What do you do when your connect disappears?
$1,000 a month for health insurance. Doesn't even pay for antibiotics.
Right.
Like, fuck the health insurance world at this point. You know what I mean? They're not going to pay for Suboxone. So and this could be a good thing for them to titrate down a little bit. So 1/8 milligram, I think at this point costs $5. So you're talking about both of them just have to get down to 4 milligrams, split in 8 once a day, and that costs you what, $150?
There you go.
That I'm sure they don't like that if they're on 12 or 16.
Right. Or whatever actually is going on there.
Four will hold you. I guarantee you that. I was on buprenorphine in the 80s, and it didn't seem to matter because it used to come in 10 milligram ampules, right? It didn't seem to matter whether I did 5 of them or 1 of them. It was about the same.
Right. But it's psychologically way different, though. The 16 milligrams of Suboxone.
Well, no, the junkies are different nowadays. So they believe the myth of the methadone clinic model, which is the one that Suboxone doctors use. Like, let me give you enough. We're going to go up and up and up.
Find your blocking dose. Your blocking dose.
No, you're a fucking grown-ass adult. Get a certain amount that you're not sick, you don't have diarrhea and stomach aches and sweats. That's about 8 milligrams a day. I swear to God, I was on it for years off and on it. A 10 milligram ampule, which used to only come intramuscular. You could only shoot it. It was only liquid in the beginning, buprenorphine. And so, because I started realizing, because it was expensive. It was like, I forget, you get 20 ampules for $100. They were like, they were expensive. And, if you're going to do 5 of them, then the funny thing was somebody told me they're really good for shooting coke with. So I started doing that.
Was it?
Because, yeah, it was good. It was like a different thing than heroin. Because sometimes the heroin's so strong, it just wipes out the dope. The Suboxone never did that. It just kept you from feeling like,
shitty.
You were you have a seizure or something. You know what I mean?
It kept you kind of mellow on the coke shot.
It kept you from being ridiculous. But anyways, I just think that they overprescribe Subutex, usually Subutex or Suboxone, usually to people with good insurance. So the better insurance you have, the more fucked they're going to fuck you, right? But in Medicaid level or HMO level, they don't even pay for enough for you to get through the month.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's bullshit. It's a total fuck you policy. You know what I mean? It's the total double-edged sword.
No, well, I mean, it's the same thing that rehab is. Really, 40% of the public is well insured, right? 60, and 20% of the public is Medicare or Medicaid. So there's 40% of the population really believes they have health insurance and they really don't. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have very, very shitty deli workers union insurance that covers a little but not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially on expensive medicines. Buprenorphine is, Suboxone, Subutex, same thing. It's a very expensive drug.
But it sounds like I never was on Suboxone like long term. I was on Methadone long term, and it was very affordable.
Methadone was great for me. Mine was $60 a week, I think.
Mine was like $60 a month in that shitty spot in Echo Park. You know that spot in Echo Park?
Pizarro.
Yeah.
Pizarro Clinic.
Yeah,
I was there for years.
Me too. I was there for 6 years.
What years?
Well, I was there from 2002 to 2008.
No, well, I was there from 90 off and on from 92 to 96. I remember. I'll tell you a great story about the Pizarro Clinic. So a lot of times I was living in the flop houses along 6th Street and Bonnie Bray in the drug area, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
And so I would walk there because eventually, you got to sell your car to go on a run. So I would just walk there first thing in the morning, and I'd get there, and I'm just going to be honest, this is dopey. There was these there was a new thing happening in the early 90s called lipstick lesbians. You ever heard of it?
Sure.
It was amazing. It was an amazing phenomenon.
Yes.
So there were these 2 lipstick lesbians.
And by lipstick lesbians, we mean very attractive, very feminine lesbian couples.
They're the ones that came up with the phrase.
But that was the phrase, right?
I didn't come up with it.
I'm
that
right
was
on
the
there.
phrase.
Okay.
They were like girly girl lesbians.
Right.
is another one of my friends who was a lipstick lesbian said it's just girly girl, real girls, lesbians or whatever. I don't know. We're going to get in trouble for talking about this.
No,
but
this
anyway,
is okay, Bob. Keep going.
There was two that were there, and they would come with their dog, and so I would wait for them because I just they were fun and flirtatious and funny and wild and sexy and whatever. So, and I was living this lonely, kind of isolated drug addict life, so it always livened up my morning. I would get up like 7 in the morning. I'd start walking over there from 6th and Bonnie Bray, and get there about 8, and then get my dose, and then I would just sit in the lobby and watch I Love Lucy. I remember I Love Lucy was always on the TVs in the lobby, right? And I would wait for them to come, and then we'd talk, and sometimes I'd go to Jack in the Box with them or whatever. And it was just one of the greatest times of my life, that era when those girls were going to the methadone clinic, and they were so alive. I wasn't alive, and they were people who were alive. They were funny, and they were fun, and they were full of life, and it was just, and that's another thing of what I truly believe is we need each other.
Right.
I don't even know what I was fantasizing was going to happen. It was some crazy, stupid thing that was never going to happen. But that really wasn't why I looked forward to seeing them.
So you never had a 3-way with the 2 lipstick lesbians?
No, I don't think lipstick lesbians
no?
go backwards like that.
It wasn't going to happen.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been kind of fascinated by that culture and that world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so... And it was more than that. It was attachment. They were cool. They were funny. They joked around like Dopey joking around. Like, and you'd hear their stories and what's going on in their world and that. So I've always said, whatever it is that AA people say AA is, it went on before we got to AA too. Because I experienced it with all my friends. Everyone I came in contact with, we were connected. We're connected. Junkies are connected.
Yeah.
We're connected when we're using. We're connected when we get sober.
And when we get sick, when we get sick together, it's painful, but it's incredible connection. As much as you might hate each other, it's like you go through the mill. You know what I mean? And if you get clean with somebody, literally, it's a bond that can't be broken almost. No,
it's not. There's a couple guys I got sober with that I see at Elvis's school, and they're just... like, oh my God, we always, sooner or later, one time, Sue, I pick Elvis up on Wednesdays and Fridays, and sooner or later, one of us says, can you fucking believe this? The 3 of us are here picking up our kids. Right. This is nuts.
You know what it sounds like to me, Bob?
Gratitude.
It sounds like you have a lot to be thankful for on this Thanksgiving Spectacular.
I do, and so does everybody.
You're a wonderful person, Bob. You really are.
I can't.
You saved my Thanksgiving Spectacular from total despair, and I am unbelievably grateful.
Well, I love you, and I'm sorry it was a rough year, but you never know what can happen.
You never know what can fucking happen, but fucking A. I have so many questions that we didn't get to. You know who I want to get on Dopey so bad? Fucking Steve.
Louis C.K.
No, I would love Louis C.K., but I don't think he did that much drugs. You know who I want on more than anything is fucking Steve Jones. Are you friendly with him?
Oh, right. Yeah, I used to be, really. He helped me a lot early on. He was like, there was no denying that the guy in the Sex Pistols is sober. Are you fucking kidding me, Bob?
Right.
How much more punk rock can you get than being in the Sex Pistols?
Oh, you can't. But I'm reading his book. His book is insane. Have you read his book?
No.
It's called Lonely Boy. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Well, do you see his videos that he makes, like on the toilet playing Elvis Presley songs and stuff?
No, where do I see them?
You gotta follow him on Instagram.
I do follow him. I haven't seen them. I have to look them up.
Videos. I don't know how I get them. They come on my phone. They just crack me up.
I like
I'll
listen.
Tell you a good Steve Jones story. Want to hear it?
Oh, definitely.
I was a kid. I was 20 years old. 1981, and I had a club in Hollywood called After Everything Else. It was an after-hours club on Friday and Saturday.
It was your club?
It was my club. Me and my first wife, she was like 6 years older than me, and she was a real hipster, like connected punk rock go. So we had this thing called After Everything Else, and so the Red Cross guys, Jeff and Steven, one of my friends, and they said, hey, Steve Jones wants to jam with us. And I was like, holy shit, let's try to orchestrate that. And then we got Don Bowles to be the drummer. So it was Don Bowles from the Germs, Jeff and Steven from Red Cross, and Steve Jones playing guitar, right? And they were going to play Sex Pistols songs and Red Cross songs and Stooges songs and whatever at my club.
Right.
And so this is the first time I ever meet Steve Jones. And I go to the rehearsal, and I got to pay for the rehearsal. And then Steve Jones doesn't have a guitar or an amp. This is when he was still on dope.
Right.
And he doesn't have a guitar and amp, so I bring my friend Chris Hansen's guitar and amp. He's got a little tiny Yamaha 50-watt amp and an SG guitar. It's a shitty setup.
Right.
But it's the only thing I could get. So I bring it. Steve Jones shows up about 2 hours late for rehearsal, which is perfect. And then I say, I'm the one promoting the show. I'm so excited you're going to do this. And he takes the guitar and he kind of looks at it, and then he takes the Yamaha thing, and he literally, this is what a genius musician he is. He makes this shitty little amp and this fucking added tune, or, doesn't stay in tune SG sound like Steve Jones. It was unbelievable. It sounded exactly like the Sex Pistols guitar. And I remember as a kid, there was rumor that Chris Spedding, this other guitar player, played guitar, and that Steve Jones can't really play guitar. And in that moment, we were all just standing there like, that is fucking amazing.
Right.
That he can make it sound like that. And so we do the rehearsal, and there's a little break after like 5 songs, and he comes up and he goes, hey, I'm going to need some money before the gig. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was a trust fund kid, so I was like, oh, okay. And so I remember I gave him $100, which $100 in like 1980 or 1981 was a lot of money. And then, he rehearsed one more song, and he said, okay, I'll see you guys at the gig, and blah, blah, blah. And then he just disappeared, and we never saw him. He never showed up at the gig. and so then I tell him this story years later, and he kind of didn't remember, but he goes, lucky I didn't pitch your, whatever the English term for steal, I didn't, steal your guitar, did I? Because that was his regular MO.
I know. Like the Sex Pistols' whole sound system was like stolen from a Genesis concert. It's like, It's insane. I love it.
And so
that's a great.
He's the greatest, and so he was an inspiration to me to be sober. Like there was no denying, because I had this thing: I'm a rock and roller, I'm a punk rocker, I don't live by any rules. And then I knew that this guy who invented not living by any rules, which I was just a pale imitation of, was sober, and it was very inspiring.
It's amazing.
And for that, I am grateful. I am grateful for Steve Jones. I am grateful for the Sex Pistols.
Yes, Bob. And I'm grateful for you. And so just wish, I love you. Well, I love you too, and wish the Dopey Nation a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Dopey Nation, but don't be too grateful. Don't be phony.
Yeah, don't be phony really grateful. Actually, if you're grateful, be grateful. Otherwise, just fucking don't do it. I agree.
Quote Cat Stevens, if you want to be grateful, and if you don't want to be grateful, don't be grateful.
Yeah, don't be grateful. Anyway.
Don't be grateful.
Bob.
All right, see you around the bend.
You're the best. Later.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So the great and grateful, or even ungrateful, Bob Forrest. Fucking rock and roll legend, fucking junkie legend, and even more so, recovery legend, recovery celebrity, who is nestled nicely into the fabric of what we love to call the Dopey Nation. And I'm super grateful for that. It's so cool. When Chris and I started this thing, we never would have imagined a community sprouting up the way it has, and Bob and the Don't Die people in Los Angeles and Malibu and Sacramento and Wisconsin. It's cool to be aligned with so many cool people in recovery. And we owe it all to I don't know what we owe it all to. I guess we owe it all to hard work, persistence, Bob coming into my restaurant, and then after that happened, when we finally got hooked in with Dr. Drew, fucking the great Susan Pinsky hooked us up with the next piece, And the next piece is a crazy interview with Andy Dick. So the Dopey Thanksgiving Spectacular rolls on. That was Bob Forrest with his hardcore recovery, and this is Andy Dick with probably a little less hardcore, or less than hardcore recovery. Here we go.
Are you recording?
I am recording. That's the way professionals do it.
Smart man. How are you today?
Me, I'm very excited to have the legendary Andy Dick on our show after having attempted to have you on the show for 2 years. Where are you? Maybe 2.5 years. Where are you?
My girlfriend wanted to, yes, by the way, I date girls. You dumbass.
Everybody knows you. Everybody knows that you like to go both ways, as far as I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
True?
Mm-hmm.
True or false?
True.
Okay.
This girl is so hot.
How old?
At 30, which is, by the way, a little old for me.
I'm sure she's a very beautiful woman, Andy. Come on.
She looks like she's 21, but she's 30. She just turned 30. We've been dating for 6 months. She's awesome.
You like her?
Smart as hell. Funny. She went to Columbia University.
Nice. You like her? You're happy?
Yeah, I love her. Only girl I ever asked to marry me, ever.
And?
The other ones, I was married twice, and we got married because we had babies. And I'm like, I guess we have to get married.
Right.
It's not very romantic, and not, a real, asking to get married type situation. It's just literally, let's go to the courthouse, get this over with.
But this one you actually proposed to? Did you do it fancy style?
No, because I did a preliminary feeling out the situation proposal.
That's what.
What if I was to ask you?
Right. And she said,
"You're going to have to talk to my father." But anyway, she comes from money, and she's beautiful. It's everything I want, because she didn't even know my work. I talk about some of my stuff sometimes, remember when I did that one thing? She's like, no, I don't know your stuff. You know what she does now?
Tell me.
My dick.
There you go. I shouldn't have fallen for that trap. That's like a classic Dominican trap at the restaurant I work.
Yeah.
Does she get high?
She really does love it. What?
Does she get high?
Well, I'm not going to tell you her personal life.
Do you get high? Do you get high with her?
No. Listen, she used to live in New York during the punk scene in the 90s, and she was literally at Studio 54. And
I don't think those things jibe together. Studio 54, the 90s, and the punk scene. How do those things go together?
You'd have to ask her. Do you want me to go get her?
No, I want to know about you. Then we could do her.
Why do you keep asking about her?
Because I'm stupid. I'm starstruck over the phone.
So retarded.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'm staying at a hotel called the East West in Koreatown, and I say it's like I'm Bukowski. Did Bukowski ever stay at the Chelsea?
Probably. Everybody did.
Right? So I'd say it's like that, but just a little more upper crusty.
Right.
But my room is really small, but I love it. There's exposed brick. I'm on the top floor. It's from the 20s.
But you're in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, Koreatown.
So why don't you live out there?
Yeah.
So why?
I sold my house way quicker than I thought, and I had to just get out. I had to bolt.
So you're between domiciles.
Yeah, but what happened is my friend said, look, I'll put you in this hotel by me, this guy that I work with. I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, hook it up. $125 a night. And I'm like, this is great, but I can only really do 2 or 3 nights here. I don't want to be, that's already $1,000. Or no, that's 300. I'm not good at math. But here's my point. I realized after the second night, I said, I wonder if I do. Because I was just getting used to the luxury of it all.
The amenities of hotel living.
The amenities, and here's my bit, and I've been working on this bit. I tell it to everybody. Can I get a better deal than $125 a night? Well, what? I'm like, I don't know. It'd be nice just to get a deal. It's like, well, that would depend on your budget. And then we had this stare off where he's behind the front desk and I'm just staring at him thinking, what should I say my budget is? I said, I guess my budget is, it's between.
Okay.
And he stared back and he said, yeah, we can work with that. And I said, great, I'll take. And so I pay a little over $dollars a night at this luxury hotel.
Do you think your celebrity has anything to do with him making the deal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. They just reopened. They just redid it. And it's called the East West Hotel. It's phenomenal. So at the hotel, I got that deal. And then I was up in there. And it took me 3 days to realize this is incredible. But this standard of living, and let me describe it. Let's say my toilet paper is running low.
Yes.
Okay. I call down to the front desk and say, my toilet paper's running low. Could you please bring some up? And they do. No cost to the buyer. Okay. And that's the running joke. And then I want you to come up with one, so start thinking. But, when I leave like I am now, I'm at the Broad Museum in downtown L.A.
What is the Broad Museum?
Oh, you're going to, I'm in awe. I said, we have to leave right now. It's too overwhelming. They have Basquiat, Warhol, Moreau, Liechtenstein, Warhol,
You said Warhol. You said Warhol twice. Do they have Mondrian?
Both Warhols.
Nice.
No, you know Sandy Warhol.
Yes, of course.
His sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I went to this museum, and when I come home,
yes,
the bed that we fucked in all night, and it's like the sheets are off pretty much. They're going to be back on and made and pulled down by the maids. The whole place is going to be clean, garbage taken out, and you know what? No cost to the buyer.
Fancy.
Okay. Yeah, very fancy. Now you come up with one before I do another one. Oh wait, I want to watch CNN. My girlfriend loves watching CNN, and I just turn on the cable, or we can watch an HBO movie. No cost to the buyer.
Let me ask you this: if you're having,
you got to come up with one first.
If you're having a drink in the hotel room and you find that the drink is not as cold as you'd like it to be, can you perhaps call down to the lobby and maybe ask for them to give you ice?
Yes. No cost to the buyer.
Was that good enough for you?
But yeah, that was good. And also, if it gets hot, we both have different temperatures. I can blast the AC, but I want fresh air. So I turn on the AC full blast and open up all the windows. No cost to the buyer.
Can you open the windows in your hotel?
Yeah.
Because most hotels you can't open the windows.
Well, there's only 4 floors. So if I jumped out, I'd probably just break my ankles.
If you're
lucky, don't worry about that.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
Nope.
Do you smoke weed?
Never have. Yeah.
Do you smoke weed in the hotel room?
I'm not supposed to, but I have, and I bring friends over. I was giving my key out a little too, because I was so excited about it. But I just yesterday changed my key, and I'm not giving it out anymore.
Who are you giving it out to?
Random hooligans, thieves, bandits, crooks, and faggots.
Why are you doing that?
Because I love people. I like hanging out. But I'm not doing it anymore. I stopped doing it.
Do you smoke cocaine ever still?
Who?
Do you smoke coke still? Or crack?
I never smoked.
You never smoked crack?
No.
And you never freebased coke?
No.
Never?
There were times when people would sprinkle it
in the cigarette or in the joint.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I've never smoked a cigarette. I never have, not even one.
Wow.
In fact, I'm throwing up thinking about how my friend would dip it into I would snort coke, but he would dip his cigarette into it and then smoke it. I'm like, it just is gross to me.
Because
of the tobacco.
Well, because tobacco is filthy.
Tobacco's gross.
But I smoked cigarettes forever. I stopped smoking last year.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's fucking great. But when you used to put coke in the joint, did you have a name for that kind of a joint?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I don't remember what they called
Was it a Wooly?
No, that's not the name I heard. But they would do it, not tell me. In fact, recently, I was literally drinking orange juice, and what was it? Because it was more clear. I made a drink, and at the end of it, I saw a white powder in the bottom of the drink, and I'm like, did somebody crush a pill and put it in my drink? Because that's not cool. And they did, because I like passed out. It's horrible.
So what did they spike your fucking orange juice with?
I don't know. It wasn't orange juice. I think it was one of those vitamin drinks.
Yuck. Do you know what Europeans call Orangina?
Orangina?
No, they call it Orangina.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. They do. I work in a restaurant, and they say, "Can I please have some Orangina?" And it's my favorite fucking thing in the world. I love that.
That is hysterical.
Isn't it? You can use that. If you want to use that joke,
love that.
please.
Well, I'm only going to use it on my kids because they love that shit. My kids, are kind of worldly a little bit. When I did Zoolander 2 a couple years ago, it was kind of a flop, and they cut me out. That's why it was a flop, because they cut me out. But Ben Stiller was so generous. I was only on the set for one day, but he flew my whole family out, and we stayed in Rome for a month. Paramount and Ben gave my family and I the vacation of a lifetime, the best vacation we've ever had, and they were drinking Orangina.
Yes, sir.
Whole time.
There you go.
Love it over there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Funny.
Listen, were you in the first Zoolander or no?
Yes.
See, that was a huge fucking hit. Everybody loved that movie. I never even.
It was written for me. It was written for me, Ben and I. I was supposed to be Mugatu. You know that, right? It was written for me and Ben. And I was, this, right?
No, I don't know. Tell me.
Well, I was on a TV show, and I was contractually obligated to do the TV show.
That was news radio?
No, it was a small show that lasted 6 episodes called Go Fish. I've done a lot of TV shows. That one was with Joe Flaherty, from SCTV.
Right.
I love him. And one of them, the Culkin brothers, the young one, I can't remember his name.
Kieran Culkin, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it was him.
And it prevented you from having your starring fucking Zoolander.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the part that was written for me. And Ben was calling me at home saying, just walk away from that show. Trust me. And I should have trusted him. I fucked up. The guy that wrote it, by the way, Drake Sather, was a very good friend of mine. He wrote these short films for Ben and I, playing those characters for the VH1 Fashion Awards.
Right.
And we did those, and it was me as Mugatu, but that wasn't my name on mine. And then him as, I'm not sure if he was called Zoolander back then, but he was the model, I was a fashion designer. And he was in my short films and vice versa. And then they made a film out of it. They wrote this film. Drake Sather wrote it. And then he had just a horrible, tragic, because this is supposed to be, this show is about drugs and shit, but I think he was doing drugs, this guy, and he shot his head off. If I can cut right to the chase.
Who's that?
Drake Sather, the guy that wrote it.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
While he was on the phone.
With who?
With his wife. It's really tragic, and he was a good friend of mine. I think, it was like horrific. But anyhow, I wasn't in Zoolander. I mean, I have tiny little cameos, but that was one. I have about 10 or 20 major career fuck-ups where I'm like, don't feel like it. And That one wasn't a Don't Feel Like It. I literally couldn't do it.
When you were on that show with Kieran...
But I should have walked away. I should have walked away from the TV show at Don't Zoom In.
Well, listen, man. Okay, I have so many questions. I guess I'll just... Did you have any weird run-ins with Macaulay Culkin when you did the Kieran Culkin show, or no?
I had run-ins with him not on that show. That's another one. They wanted me to be in... what is it called? 24-Hour Party People. Yeah,
that was a good movie.
I don't remember what part they wanted me for, but that was at a time when I was just the 90s for me. I was overwhelmed and overworked.
Well, that was
I was trying to have fun.
That was your decade, though. You were incredibly successful in the 90s. You probably made boatloads of money. You know something you don't know is that I met you in the 90s. I met you on Greenwich Avenue in Manhattan at like 5 a.m, and I was with my girlfriend, and I was incredibly high, and you were on the street going someplace, and you were very nice. You made an amazing impression on me. And whenever anybody says anything nasty about you, I say, that's not the Andy that I met. The Andy that I met was super sweet. You know,
that's nice of you.
Not to mention, I loved you on news radio, and I love you whenever you're on these roasts. I watch.
I'm done with those. But you know, I was thinking about news radio. You know how they're rebooting all these fucking shows? Like, why not news radio, dude?
I don't know. You tell me. The question is, I saw you on that show, the Sober House show. Right? Bob Forrest and Dr. Drew. So the question is... Yeah, me too. That's how I got in touch with you, is through Dr. Drew's amazing wife. She's a crazy, dopey helper. She helps my show a lot. Susan Pinsky.
I love her.
So,
she's a very good friend of mine. I love her.
She loves you too. But I want to hear about where you're at. What's going on with you?
Now?
Yeah.
I'm doing fine.
Yeah?
I'm maintaining...
Yeah, you clean?
You know, I smoke a little pot here and there. My girlfriend likes to smoke pot.
I used to love to smoke pot.
I used to.
What about drinking?
My lungs can't handle it. You know, maybe I might have a drink here and there. But, you know.
Do you miss recovery at all, or no?
I am a different breed, if you ask me, which you are.
I am, yeah.
I feel I don't like any of the terms. So if you're going to throw these terms out, I'm going to start shutting down. I don't like the word alcoholic. I don't like the word disease.
I didn't say alcoholic or disease.
I don't like the word recovery.
I said recovery. I did.
I know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But the other ones were common.
No way.
I'm just warning you.
I would never. I would never. Are you kidding me?
Somebody just walked by smoking a joint. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, that's God working for us right now. You're a different breed. Come on, talk to me.
Well, I was just telling my friend today how Alice Cooper, who, you know, I don't even know his music, but the guy, you know, this rock and roll guy in his 70s,
yes,
is still fucking touring. He flew me out to Ohio to see a concert. Hung out with his snake.
Yes.
And he did this great fucking... He's a showman.
He's sober.
I know.
He's an alcoholic who's in recovery, and he's sober.
Oh, I know. But, I don't know. What was my point?
You're a different breed.
That I look up... Yeah, and he's one of them, too. Like, he should be dead. I looked at some old videos of him, and he's like... falling over on stage with a bike. He looked like Amy Winehouse,
right?
You know, during her bad years, but she died.
Yeah,
you know, but he didn't, and that's my point. So there are some people that are just made to survive. My girlfriend this morning, after we fucked all night, said because somebody was telling me I look good. She's like, "You do look good. Your body defies."
Logic.
Gravity or logic. That's what she said.
Yes.
That's what she said. Yeah.
So let me, you know, it's like you don't want to talk about, you know, sober versus drunk or whatever.
Yeah, talk about anything.
When's the last time you went to a fucking meeting?
Okay, Jesus. Is this some kind of fucking podcast intervention?
No, this is... Listen,
Okay.
you do me a favor.
How long have you been sober, Sonny?
I've been sober 3 years and 2 months.
Good for you, Sonny boy.
That's the farthest I ever got.
That's actually long.
What's the furthest you ever got?
About 3 years. But I've done it a bunch of times. I do a year here, 6 months here, a month here, 2 years here, 3 years here, 2.5 years here. Like,
when was the last time you had some time?
yesterday.
No, do me a favor, Andy. Just stick with me on this. Just do me the favor and talk to me about this, please.
My new thing is I don't really want to talk about my personal drug and or alcohol abuse. And it is and or, because I really I'm not doing anything. I'm kind of, here's what I'll tell you. One of my biggest addictions, probably my biggest, is sex. I love this girl. I made her come 30 times in the last 2 days. I count.
Well, I think that's incredible, and I commend you for that.
Well, no, I think it's a problem, you know.
That's not a problem. The problem is...
It gets to the point where I'm sleeping and she climbs back up on me, and I need to sleep.
Can I ask you a controversial question?
Yeah.
What happened where you got kicked out, all this licking people, or where you got kicked out, where you fondled the people at the roast or whatever? What's the story with that? Give me some juice here, man. Give me something good.
Oh, shut up.
I gave you the whole orangina bit. Can't you give me something?
I didn't get kicked out of those roasts. I licked Princess Leia's cheek. I grabbed onto Pamela Anderson's boobs. I put my face into Tommy Lee's crotch.
Yes.
And that was just, it's all for show, to be funny.
Yeah. Well,
and I didn't get kicked out of there. I was in the show. They love that shit. It's kind of like I've been trained by the audiences throughout the years to be like that, which, by the way, I never wanted to be that outrageous. I just want to be, I'm going to be in a movie, by the way, coming up. It's like this $30 million movie that I don't even know the name or anything, so don't ask, but I'm going to be like, it's going to be dramatic. It's going to be dramatic.
Well, what do you think about it, like when people who are really out of control on drugs and alcohol and they get their shit together, and then how does it make you feel? Like, I mean, I'm sure you feel good for them, but do you wish that you were like, I mean, like you were, I don't know how to phrase this. You don't miss being sober? You don't miss, like, having a program and fucking having more choices and, you know, being wanted to be on every TV show and every movie and all that stuff?
No, I don't want to work that much. But first of all, I'm not. You're talking to me like I'm out of my mind, drunk and high. I'm not either of those. I'm sober right now.
Okay.
This is how I am. During that 3 years of sobriety, I went to the Standard Hotel, and I went to the bar, which I can't remember what it's called, a little volume store, and by myself, sober as a deacon, sober as a church mouse. And Sean Penn was there, and he was there alone. It was Thanksgiving. I was having some kind of family, like, dilemma, and I was just there alone, and so was he. But he was drinking. He was like drinking whiskey or whatever, scotch or whatever you call it. And I said, well, I'm not drinking these days. And he said to me, wow, I really, really want to be more like you. I'm trying to get there. And I remember thinking, really? So you want to be miserable like me? Because sometimes sobriety is miserable.
All right, here we go.
I'm sure you don't want to hear that.
I do. No, I do. I really want to hear about that.
There. So anyways, I met this guy I moved into the East-West Hotel. I met a guy that lived right in the building next door, because if I'm feeling low down, depressed, I just have to walk around the block and people want to take my picture and say hi and they love me, this and that. And it really picks up my mood. This guy was so sweet. He was with the girl. I said, well, come over to my hotel. Let's have fun. We went over, we hung out. He was smoking pot. I don't even think I was doing anything. And then he went home, and 2 hours later, he died.
What happened?
I don't know. I really don't know.
How did you find out he died?
Through another friend that knew him. I think he was 26. And the rumor is that it was fentanyl, which I don't know what that is. I've just heard about fentanyl this week. I still don't even know what it is. Do you?
Yeah, it's like basically synthetic heroin that they make in China, and that they're putting in all the drugs, and it's super cheap and super powerful, and it kills everybody. It probably killed my friend Chris, who I used to do this show with. It killed one of my other best friends over the summer.
Tell me about that, because that made me cry when you were telling me that in the pre-interview.
I think the pre-interview is way better than the interview.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Because
30-second pre-interview.
I love that pre-interview. That was like my best pre-interview I ever did.
It was 30 seconds. I said, save it. This is what I meant by save it for the podcast. Tell me now, what happened with this guy? How long were you working with him? How long did you know him?
Well, everybody who, basically, I met him 8 years ago in rehab, and then both of us.
8 years ago. So you went to, how many rehabs did you go to?
In my career as a drug addict, I went to a million. I went to 2 good ones, and I went to
23.
I went to infinite public ones, infinite 23. Shitty detoxes. My partner went to 15 private ones. You went to 23. Which was your favorite? Andy?
The bar.
was there any that were there any?
Sometimes, the one when I went to Soba in Malibu, I stayed for 2 years. That was just a couple of years ago. I stayed there. I lived on the beach. I ran on the beach every day. I swam every fucking day for 2 miles. That's why I'm 52 and I look like I'm 22.
So you enjoyed that place?
I was sad and lonely and a little bit miserable, but, that's why I had to swim. If I didn't swim or walk on the beach every day, I would be crying. I'm like a troubled person.
Well, where's the what are you feeling? You feel lonely? You feel sad?
Yeah, but that's why I don't need drugs and alcohol right now, because I met this girl. I can't believe it. I haven't dated anybody it's been 2 years. The last one was at Soba. I dated one of the girls there.
What's Soba?
Soba, it's a recovery center in Malibu.
Okay, so you were sober dating somebody who was soba, and did you like it?
Oh yeah, I loved her. I miss her. She now works for a senator.
And she's Washington. Clean. She's clean.
No. I don't think so. I don't talk to her much. She did that classic millennial thing where she ghosted me. But once a month, almost like clockwork, she will call me late at night, and I just try to keep her on the phone because I just, I miss her titties. She just really had the best. But I dated her when she was 20, and I was like 48 or whatever year it was. So. Come on, what else do you need to know? Because now I'm starting to miss my girlfriend.
Give me one horrible drug story.
Well, there's a few. The worst ones, weirdly, always involve that GHB. Because I guess I just don't know how to do it. But this was like 5 or whatever years ago. I was at the W Hotel, not allowed there. I'm on the permanent no-fly list at the W. And somebody had this water bottle, just like an Arrowhead water bottle filled with water. But they said, no, this isn't water. This isn't water.
Yes.
It's GHB. And they were pouring it into the cap. The little, like a thimble full of the stuff. I'm like, do you guys even know how to do drugs? And I grabbed it, and I chugged the whole bottle. And basically I died. I died on the bed in the hotel room on the 22nd floor. But I came back to life. And when I came back to life, everybody was standing around me crying. And I only had one friend there with me. Everybody else was like an NBA star. And like, I didn't know anybody. I said, why are you guys crying? Can somebody get me a beer? And I was like, back to life. My friend later told me that when I was dead, like he said, I literally was dead.
Right.
He said, when I was dead, the people in the room were saying, let's just throw him over the balcony and say that he jumped.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Classic.
That's horrible.
Classic drug addict behavior.
Horrible.
That's what they do. You know, they don't.
The takeaway is only do a thimbleful of GHB.
Yes. Wait,
that's the takeaway.
One more question.
Okay.
When you
You
had
can meet my girl. Maybe she'll say hi to you because she's very private. You won't even see her except if you look at my Instagram story.
Yeah, I'm dying to see her.
Yeah, you'll get a glimpse of her because I like pass by her when I'm showing the Warhols and Liechtensteins, and I'll brush by her with my camera.
All right, here's one more question before you run away. When you gave up your longest bit of time, how did it end?
It always ends because, and here's another, it's a good question, because I get so fucking miserable or depressed or angry or all of the above. And I'm like, either I'm going to fucking shoot my head off or hang myself, or I'm going to take a drink. Okay? And that's what I wish people that killed themselves that were sober, why don't we just go out and grab a drink real quick? Let's see how you feel. You can always get sober again, like I do, but don't kill yourself. The fuck, dude?
Right. It's the end.
Have you ever been suicidal?
I was at a point where I would have loved to have died, and I shot a shitload of heroin, and I took a shitload of Xanax and Klonopins. It was like a New Year's Eve, and I was by myself, and I had hundreds and hundreds of dollars of heroin, and I probably took 20 Xanax or something, and thought that would be a nice way to not wake up for the new year. But I woke up the next day high, and that was it. I was never totally suicidal. Were you ever totally suicidal?
No.
Let me ask you.
I love life.
Let me ask you this: do you think that?
I get to a place where I'm like, if it happened and if I happen to die, so be it. I'm fucking sick of it. But not now. I have this girl. I'm doing great. I live in the hotel.
Right.
Can I tell you something about the hotel?
Sure.
I can leave the lights on all day and night, no cost to the buyer.
You're a wonderful person. Do you know that? I'm so happy you came back to your no cost at the buyer. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever try to get into recovery again or no?
Well, okay. First of all, remember, I don't like that word. But
well, you know what's a word you like? How do you describe it?
You're either sober or not. I don't even like that word.
Well, what word do you like?
There's no words. It's just like, just take care of yourself. I remember being at Alanis Morissette's house.
Yeah.
For one of her parties.
Uh-huh.
I've known her for years. I was on her show called I'm With the Band. And it was on Comedy Central. And I remember just being so proud that I was sober for like a year and a half or something. And I was telling her, I've been sober for a while now. And she didn't give a shit. She literally looked at me, she stared at me, put her hand on my heart, on my chest, and said, whatever you feel in here.
Well, she's quite a hippie, though, right?
Yeah, but she doesn't do drugs and she doesn't abuse them.
But she doesn't know the misery that you put. I'm sorry.
I have been known to abuse drugs and alcohol, but I'm not right now because of this girl.
Right. So you're enjoying the sex and the fucking,
Love it. I'm at the fucking Broad Museum. You'll go nuts. If you come to LA, you have to go. But the thing is that there was a line. There was a line of like 200 people. I'm like, she's like, oh, let's not go today. I'm like, no, hang on a minute. Let me use my invisible passport. And we were still in the Uber. We didn't even get out yet. And the Uber guy's like, what's the invisible passport? I'm like, and I framed my face with my fingers, like, right here. My face.
You know who you remind me of? And I never met this guy, but did you ever see the movie about Peter Sellers? It was on HBO.
No.
It was.
I love Peter.
Hold on.
I remind you of Peter Sellers because he's my idol.
Dude.
He's like my favorite.
I didn't know that.
I'm inspired by him. Well, now that's weird. I'm honored that you said that.
Dude, the movie's called The Life and Death of Peter Sellers.
Are you kidding me? I remind you of him.
You remind me of him because of the invisible passport and your love of the celebrity.
Well, I made a life for myself accidentally, by the way. Because at first I didn't like it, but then I just said, I just have to embrace it. In fact, somebody called me the other day and said, what should I do? I'm starting to get inundated by people coming up to me in the streets and, recognizing me and wanting me to take pictures. I'm like, and what's the problem? Like, embrace it, smile, say thank you so much. That's what I do every time. And by the way, I want to tell you one thing. This app called me. One of the executives named Kara called me from Cameo. It's an app. I've been on it for just a few weeks. Okay.
It's called Cameo? Is this a plug for an app?
Yeah, but also, no, it's plugged for me on the app. So what is it? Now, you do shouts out for people and they pay for it. I'm like, oh, okay. Let me try it out. You really think people will want that? And then I thought, yeah, they want it if I walk around the block. I've been doing it for free for 30 years. So I said, let's get on it. And they have to pay for me to do a shout out, happy birthday to you. My aunt wants you to say congratulations on a new job. Tell my friend Ryan that I think about his mother when I masturbate. Sometimes I think about him, but mostly his mother. There's all kinds of weird shit. With me, they do get raunchy.
I bet.
And it can either be hidden or in public, and they pay me.
How much do they pay you for a message?
They told me to put it low at first, so I put it at for one thing, and I got overwhelmed. It became that's the other thing that's making me happy.
It's drugs.
This app. No,
to get money for doing this shit, it's like drugs. What's your rate? How much does it cost to get you to do one?
No, it's not. No, it's not about the money. It's about
the thrill,
creative again,
being wanted.
Like when they say, please talk to my brother, he's being mean to our mother, and this and that. I'm like, wow, I have to think about what should I write a script, I edit it, I set up the lighting, I changed the location. I just did one here at the museum, and then I do it, and if it's not good, I can redo it. I only will redo it 3 times. By the third time, I'm like, come on, I'm not getting paid that much. But it's like I have a TV show where I'm the director, writer, editor, producer, actor. I'm everything. It's like having the Andy Dick Show again, but I don't have to go to the studio and be there for 16 hours a day. I can be at the fucking museum with my girlfriend. I can be on the phone with you. I can be at home masturbating, and then one comes in and I just pop it out, and I'm kind of living off it. And it's fun and creative. And by the way, I'm like number 1 on the app now. That's
fucking cool. And you make good money at it? How much does it cost to get you to do something?
Why don't you go buy one? See for yourself.
All right. Is that why you asked me if I was going to pay you to come on Dopey? Because that's your new thing, pay to play kind of thing.
Well, yeah.
I like it.
I'm getting, what is it? Don't worry about how much I'm getting it. But yeah, people are, I still get paid. Daddy still got it.
Out of all of the shows you did, which was your favorite? Andy
The
Dick Show? It was.
Yeah,
because it had your name?
It has my name in the title, yeah. And I could do anything, and I was the boss. But it also was the hardest.
Right, because you had to carry it.
Yeah, when they canceled it, by the way, you were asking me what makes you fall off the wagon, because that was when I had 3 years sober.
Right.
When they canceled it, I think it only took a week before I was smoking a joint in a hot tub with some random guy. Because he lit up a joint. He was hot. I'm like, fuck it. Just hand it. Let me out. And then we were fucking that night. And then when you mix sex and drugs like that, just not a good combo.
Why not?
Well, because you're marrying them together. It's like me being on stage at Second City, in Chicago and LA, and going on stage, but drinking a few beers before I go on stage, because it's in a bar. I married the two.
So you're drunk. You get the thrill of being high.
Or tipsy. And you don't have to be drunk, but I'm just saying that the two get married, and it's a dysfunctional marriage. You don't need it. My best shows are when I'm not drunk at all. I do these runs for like a year or 2 years at a club and completely sober a lot.
And those are the best ones.
Always. And they ask me to, they've asked me many, many times to write books and do specials. HBO paid me. They paid me to write one, like $90,000 I wrote it. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to shoot it. I'm like, decided I don't want to shoot it.
Why?
But I didn't think it was good enough. That's the other thing. If I don't think I can do justice to the part or to the project, I have to say no. That's like me as an artist. That's why I've been going on and on and on. But like I said, I've made many, many mistakes. Another one I just remembered was Dodgeball. Ben wanted me to do a part in that, but I literally couldn't see how I could make it funny. So I said, I'm going to bow out on this one because I don't get it. And I don't...
Dodgeball is funny. That was a funny movie.
Okay, then we'll hang up at this one.
What?
I'm going to go start walking in. I'm going to let you say hi to her.
That's it? Wait. What's your biggest regret?
I can get through Dodgeball.
It's because I thought Dodgeball was funny. I was high. What do you want from me? That's the end of the interview? I thought Dodgeball was funny?
Go get it. You said it was over a while ago. Go get high, kid. You need it. No, but say hi to my girlfriend.
What's her name? Do you guys bring chicks into the thing?
No, I'm not. By the way, I'm not some fucking swinger that has orgies and threesomes.
Never?
I get asked. I have.
Not good?
I don't ever like it. I never like it.
When's the last time you did cocaine?
I might have done it. Hey, babe. You want to say hi? Don't ask her anything too personal. She's very private. She wants to say hi.
Hello? Yes, hello?
How are you?
Great, how are you? How's the interview going?
It's going okay. How are you doing?
Great.
Nice. Andy says you're 30, but you look like you're 21.
Ooh, I suppose those things are both true.
So that's great. And how's Andy doing?
He's holding up.
Is he out of control?
No.
Okay. Do you get high with him ever?
Didn't he just specifically ask you to not ask me personal questions?
I didn't realize that was a personal question. There's a podcast about drugs and addiction, so that's kind of the way I want to go with it. But how long are you in
to talk about any of those things.
How long are you in Los Angeles for? Do you live there?
Oh, God, I hope not.
Do you love the East-West, no charge to the consumer policy?
Yeah. You're great. This is hilarious. God, how much ground did you guys cover?
Not that much. Not nearly enough.
He just said a lot of things I've never talked about.
Really? Interesting. So what are you going to do now?
Well, I'd like to go over to LACMA. It's my day off, so we're doing the museums today.
Do you have any sort of do you have any sort of stake in Andy's? You've dated him for 6 months. Are you worried about him being in sobriety or not, or any of that shit?
Taking care of Andy is difficult.
Okay.
But I think there are a lot of people who are trying.
Well, Andy has to take care of Andy.
Oh, you should tell him.
He tells me that he's not out of control, but I'm asking you.
He's not out of control.
You're his girlfriend,
He's not.
right? You're 6 months into this thing, and you're trying to take care of him. Do you ever encourage him to go to a meeting or be clean or whatever?
Of course. He's telling me that I keep him under control.
Well, he says
the heart in this man is...
He says that he's addicted to having sex with you now, that you're his new drug of choice.
Well, that's really sweet, actually.
Very sweet. But
I've never known a man with a heart like Andy's, and we do everything we can to protect it.
Well, you should take him to a meeting. Go with him.
I'm just not big on God, really, so meetings have never really worked for me. I imagine they'll work well for him. I don't know.
The trick is to not get caught up with God as like God at the robe. The idea.
I never got past the first one.
No.
The first one is God.
No, but fuck
Maybe
it.
I just had bad sponsors.
No, my sponsor. Were you in recovery at some point and you gave it up?
I was, yeah.
My sponsor always would say, my sponsor was an atheist Jew, an old atheist Jew. And
That's what I need.
And he would always say that God isn't like Jesus or God. For him, it was are you listening? This is the most important thing you're ever going to hear.
I'm listening.
A gift of desperation. G-O-D. You know, you don't sound desperate. You sound like you have your shit together. And Andy doesn't sound desperate. But
He isn't.
I know that he could be free. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's in, whatever. I don't want to fucking sell Bibles from door to door. You guys are very sweet to get on the fucking phone with me, and I appreciate it. You understand what I'm saying?
Of course I do. I appreciate you talking to him. He's having quite a lot of fun.
What I want now is does he ever he says he doesn't smoke cocaine. Is that true?
Oh God, I hope it's true. Smoke cocaine? My God.
I'm just trying to get to the next point. You think his big problem was with alcohol if you were going to put a problem on him?
Sure.
All right. And he said that he went to the museum with his invisible passport to get in, and and they immediately told him that they didn't have alcohol there, and he said that was cool.
I don't think that any of those things happened. He did let us skip the line. I don't know what they said to him. I hope people don't treat him that way. Maybe it's possible that I don't really know that much about him.
No.
I think that I do.
How often do you hang out with him?
I was standing right there.
Does he talk to you about the invisible passport a lot?
I think that's a new joke. That's a new bit.
Do people give you a hard time for being with him?
Of course.
They do. So what do you say to them?
Well, I don't tell them.
You don't. So it's like a private thing.
I'm a very private person.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on our show then. That's cool. Well,
I think Andy would like to talk some more.
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you jealous that I went, in front of everybody?
Who, me?
Yeah, no, the other guy on the line with him.
Well, no, I love your invisible passport. I'm just trying to mine for some juice. Trying to get some dirt out of her.
She ain't gonna. You can squeeze her all you want.
She's not spilling. She's not spilling.
She ain't gonna tell you anything. And there's nothing to tell except that.
Except that what?
Oh, so there is something to tell?
She says she's worried about you.
You're worried about me.
She says you get in your own way sometimes.
You said that?
No, she didn't say that. She didn't say. I'm just kidding. She didn't say that.
Oh, man, she knows. She knows we're doing good. You don't even know. I feel like at 52, I'm on top of my fucking game. I'm in love again. I told him that I asked you to marry me, by the way. I told him.
And she said no, right?
She said, I told you what she said.
She
Talk
said
to my father.
No, she said if you go to a meeting and you get 90 days and a chip, maybe I'll do it.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that part.
I'm sure she did.
Did you?
No.
90 days.
90 days. You'll get your head about you, man. If there's anything I can ever do for you, never hesitate to ask.
He's a good guy. She really is getting mad right now.
Go
Yeah,
have.
she did.
Listen. Go have
No,
fun.
you both are telling. You literally both said go away. Both of you at the same time.
Well, that might be some sort of like God thing. Andy, I appreciate your time.
Literally at this. Go away.
I didn't say go away.
Well, she said go outside, and you said go have fun.
Right. So that must have been crazy go out in stereo in your brain.
Well, it's like people are saying go. The word go is the operative verb. Go. Why don't you go get that phone call?
Because that's not my call. It's going to stop ringing in a second. Listen. Dude, what did you tell me that you never told anybody?
I don't remember. A bunch of things. I tell my girlfriend I have 1.8 million stories, and every day I give her a couple more. I'll never get through them all.
Do you want to give me one more crazy?
Ask me something specific, and I don't know what the purpose of your show is, but think about that.
Well, the purpose of the show is to entertain, is to keep addicts company, is the purpose of the show. And my purpose is to...
I like that.
It's to keep addicts company and to show that life in recovery can be fun. Because I have a much more fun life in recovery than I did getting high, personally.
Well, you probably were hardcore. You're probably shooting on heroin.
Yeah, I was a mess. Give me one more terrible drug story. Give me a good one. The story is, it's like, they love to, or a story about like, you know, you said that you were miserable when you were sober, you know?
But the thing is that, to be honest with you,
Please.
I'm miserable both ways.
Right.
I really am. But if I can just even it out, smoke a little pot. I never take pills.
Never.
It's one of my secrets. Never. It's one of my secrets. Those are what's killing everybody these days. Everybody. I was in rehab for those 2 years at Soba. There must have been 20 people that died. They were in their 20s.
From overdosing on pills.
Actually heroin. Including my roommate. Like your guy.
Yeah.
So you didn't tell me about that.
Well,
stop talking about
well,
that.
what happened was he was clean 4 years. He was in a program to become a psychologist, a PhD for psychology, and he did the show with me for almost 3 years. He had a serious girlfriend. He was a fucking manager in a sober house. He was
kind of like Dr. Drew.
He wanted to be Dr. Drew. We actually interviewed Dr. Drew. He actually was treated by Dr. Drew.
So was I.
I know. That's how I know you. But he wanted to be like Dr. Drew, but the difference between him and Dr. Drew is Chris was a terrible drug addict. You know, Chris was an IV Coke. Huh?
Dr. Drew's not a drug addict, but Dr. Drew drinks. I've had beers with Dr. Drew.
That's interesting. Where was that?
Different parties. You know, we go back and forth, and we make it clear with each other. Are you my client now, or are you my friend? If you're my friend, I'll have a drink with you. If you're my client, you know, I'm going to tell it to you straight.
Right.
But by the way, he's out of the addiction industry.
He came on Dopey a few times, and he does He does an addiction podcast. He doesn't work in treatment anymore, though, right? Yeah, because it's too much. You know, it's nonstop. And
so you didn't get to the horrific ending of your partner, and he's like your partner, like your comedy partner, basically.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, he was. I don't know how.
Recovery partner.
He was my podcasting partner, and we did some funny stuff, though. If you listen, it's like a retarded show. It's just.
I'm not going to listen to it, but
I don't blame you.
What happened?
I don't blame you at all. What happened?
Can I guess?
Sure.
Because what I find when people die from drugs or alcohol, it is not an accident. Which now I'm starting to think maybe your guy was. We used to say that 4 years, and he probably went back to what he used to do. And
no,
it was just,
I don't think that's what happened.
Well, my first guess, which was not that, and it always is this, a girl, a relationship gone bad, it's devastating. How many have you had where you're done, the girl's done, you're done, and you're just devastated? See, that's why I'm in the exact opposite place right now. I'm literally in love.
I know, but Andy, you're making me nervous because the girl doesn't want people to know she's dating you. She doesn't want people to know about it because she's concerned about you. What I would do is I would get your shit together so that you could actually, like, keep it, because you're going to blow it with this shit.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I kind of agree with you.
You know I'm right. Are you kidding me?
Shut up. Now, what about your friend?
He was in a good relationship. I think that he was so successful in his life that his body, you know, like the promises in AA, I feel like he had all of these promises came true. And then something switched in his head, which was like, all the promises came true. Now maybe I can have, maybe I can have all the promises true and I can get high. I think that's what happened.
And then what? Now give me the specifics of the day he died.
All right. Well,
give me a little bit of leading up to, like, maybe was he doing drugs for like a month or week?
I don't know. You know, he was acting weird. He lives in Boston and I live in New York. We would do the podcast. He'd come to New York once a month and we'd record for 5 hours. And he had stopped coming. He had an injury. The last time I saw him was at Artie. We went to Artie Lang's house.
There you go. The injury.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So he started taking OxyContin or
maybe
Percocet or
maybe. The thing is that
that's the one. You know, that's like, if you want to talk about the real shit, that's it. All these pills and you just get sucked into it. Have you ever had a wisdom tooth taken out? They give you Vicodin. You're like, I took them all in like 2 days.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
I feel fucking great. This is amazing. To the point where, like, it's so amazing. I can tell this is dangerous. You know? And it is. Look, how old was your friend?
34.
God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm 52. See? And he got sucked into it.
Well,
big pharma.
No. That's what Dr. Drew says. That's not what happened. What happened is maybe he took a pill, maybe he confiscated drugs off someone in his sober house, but my friend loved getting away with shit. He loved being squeaky clean to everybody and super smart, and then meanwhile he's smoking crack and shooting coke and shooting dope. Like he had a stash of fucking drugs in his car that nobody knew about. He loved to get away with shit. I think his drug of choice was getting away with shit, and I think that's what happened with him.
I can understand that. I don't have that. I like telling people.
Me too.
But that's what I'm learning. That's why I didn't want to, go full blast with you. Maybe next time I could tell you more. But I'm trying to have boundaries.
I would like you to tell me more next time.
Fine. And you just got yourself another interview. Good job.
Thank you. What I really want is for you to consider not fucking it up with getting your shit together, because if you do fuck it up, you're going to be like fucked. Because she's your drug of choice. And you're going to foul your drug of choice with your old drug of choice. And then you're going to be left fucked.
Yeah.
That's my advice to you. And I send my love to. And to her. She sounds hot and sweet.
Oh, she really is. Like I said, if you look at my Instagram story.
I'll check it out.
Oh, hey, baby.
Put her on again for a second.
He wants to say bye to you.
Thanks so much for the interview. It seems like it went well.
Anyway, thank you for coming on. You were very sweet. Get Andy to a meeting. God can be a gift of desperation. Okay, have fun.
Thank you.
And let me talk to Andy for a second again.
Of course.
Okay.
What you have to say is you say, stay strong, Dopey Nation, and you say toodles. That's what Chris would say.
Hang up.
Yeah, then you can go. Yeah.
What again?
You say, stay strong, Dopey Nation.
Okay.
You didn't
stay strong.
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Why are you talking over me?
Because I have a problem.
No, shut up. Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Toodles. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now, is there anything else?
I mean, there's tons of stuff. We'll save it for the next time. We'll save it for the next time. You are
this is just part A.
Yeah, part A. Thank you so much.
Did you like that one though?
I did.
You know, I need a little. You know, you guys stroke me a little bit.
Dude, I loved it.
Give me a reach around, Jeff.
I will do it next time I see you. And
stroke me off a little bit. Come on, what's wrong?
I loved it when you were great and when you were honest. You know, the more honest you are.
When did you not like it?
I don't know. I loved the bit with the hotel. There was a minute in the beginning where you didn't want to come clean, and then you stopped. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, let me tell you something. When I come home to my hotel at 5 a.m.
Yes.
And the doors are locked.
Yes.
And the doors are locked. I can see the front desk, and I just wave at them.
And
they open the doors with a button. I walk in. They close them right away. It's 24-hour security.
Before you go, though, you know
no cost to the buyer.
All right. Enough with the no cost to the buyer. I have a question, though. It's really important. I watched you on. I watched you on that show, Love.
Yeah.
And you play yourself crazy and on drugs, and you get high with the character on on Love.
By the way, Gillian Jacobs, that's her name.
Yeah.
She never drank in her whole life. Never did drugs.
Do you think Judd Apatow took advantage of you and Artie by putting you into his shows as using addicts?
Yes.
He did, right?
Yes.
Both of you.
Yep.
And he did it on purpose, too, didn't he?
Yeah. And I asked him not to. I said, can you change my character name, at least so it's not me? And he said, and he's told me he would, and he didn't. So, yeah.
And he did the same thing with Artie, right?
I know. It's a little bit shitty. And that nobody asked me that, but yeah. Yep.
Nobody asked you that?
No.
I wonder why. And do you worry about being that person that everybody needs to get high with and act crazy with? Does that ever bother you?
Okay, so what you're saying is, does it bother me to be me?
But you're not. That's not. It's only a piece of you.
That's what you're asking.
No, it's only a piece of you. That's not you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, here's a thing that I came up with years ago, because people would say, doesn't it bother you that people like you for this or that or this? Right. That's some hater shit. Here's the thing. Here's the dichotomy and the irony, or whatever you want to call it.
Would you say it was the dichotomy? The dichotomy? Get it?
The dichotomy.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, thank you.
So you're starting the question with, does they like you for... Okay, stop there. I don't give a fuck shit why they're like... If somebody likes me, great. You're asking me why should I be bothered or mad about why somebody likes me? What? Do you see how that doesn't even make sense?
Listen, I get you.
Did you hear me?
I just think that there's so much more to you that you don't give yourself a chance to be, because you're caught up in this stuff. It's just like the life and death of Peter Sellers. It's just like the life and death of Peter Sellers. You should watch it tonight with. You guys should curl up.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we're going to curl up in our blankets. I might call down to the front desk and get another pillow, no cost to the bar. Turn on the TV, go to HBO or Netflix, no cost to the bar. Watch it, put the AC on, dim the lights, no cost to the bar. That was a fun interview. You're fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So there it is. Andy Dick. The Dopey Thanksgiving Spectacular is finally coming to a close. But before we do, in the great spirit of Thanksgiving entertainment products, I just want to talk about a few things that I am thankful for. 1, my family. 2, my sobriety. 3, I guess my job, which I fucking hate. 4, fucking dark chocolate. 5, Quaker Oat squares. 6, I said my family. I said my job. I don't know. I'm grateful for a lot of stuff. The Dopey Nation. I'm grateful to make Dopey. I'm grateful to walk around Manhattan. I fucking live for that shit. I'm grateful to be alive, and I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful to Cormac for busting his ass and always getting the stupid show on Reddit. I'm grateful for the administration team in the Dopey Nation to be administrating so properly. I'm grateful to everybody who reaches out. I'm grateful to people who leave fire voicemails, and I'm grateful for the people who don't. I'm really grateful for the people who leave fire voicemails that are like 7 minutes long and perfect and really funny. But I'm grateful for all you guys. You guys are the best. I'm grateful to Greg Trainer. Greg Trainer cut the Andy Dick episode down. There was a lot of bullshit that he took out, and he beeped a bunch of stuff. Is it bleep or beep? He beeped, I think, just some stuff Andy didn't want to get out there, how much he paid for the hotel. He didn't want people to find out and try to redo his deal. He wanted to beep his girlfriend's name. That's a whole other story that he wants to come on and tell, and I think we should have him come on and tell it. I'm grateful to Sam for all of his hard work in the back. Like, Sam is always coming up with plots and plans for where the Dopey Nation and actually more where the podcast should be going. And Brad, because I stole the whole idea from Brad, my friend Brad. But I'm grateful to all you guys, and thank you for everything you do. And stay strong, Dopey Nation. And I'm grateful to Chris. You know, I'm just blown away that Chris is gone. Every day, it's one of those things. But I am grateful that we came up with this idea, and the idea is still growing. So I love that. You know, before I stop, I just want to do one last thing. One last thing is I just got an email from the great Dopey podcast fucking fan, Joey Pepper. And Joey Pepper has been a fan since the beginning, and he's always written emails. He used to fuck with Chris terribly. He always will have a great place in my heart, and he just wrote this email tonight, Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving right now, so I'm going to put this out in a minute. Happy Thanksgiving. This is from Joe Pepper. Hey Dave, what's up? Still loving the show. Fucking Marin was pretty dope, but I really think the whole thing with Viceland and Dope Sick Nation is lame, man. I mean, Viceland may be some assholes, but Allie and Frankie are real addicts just like us, and they are doing the same shit we're doing as addicts in recovery. We're addicts helping other addicts, and yeah, man, I think you should just squash all that bullshit about the name. It's kinda whack, man. People's lives are being saved. Thanks to these people, it's a good thing. Turning into a TV show is not so good, but what the people are doing is good. They're good people, and so are you, Dave. Love you, man. Peace out. Well, I love you, Joey Pepper, too. And I think Allie was super cool, and I never met Frankie, but my heart goes out to him. And I just hate that they took the name Dope Sick Nation. You know, I'll get over it. I just can't, it's hard to swallow. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but you're right. And so we say, you know, fucking good luck to the Dope Sick Nation. And I love it if they help anybody. And it's just a hard pill to swallow. But I love that you're still listening, and I love that you're still writing in. And a bunch of people in the Dopey Nation think that the feud is lame. But I'm a little bit of a petty person. So my pettiness will always, haunt me. Even if I say the Dope Sick Nation is all right with me, just the fact that they fucking took the name will always irk me. Anyway, love you, Joey. Love you guys. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Dopey Spectacular. I wish Chris could have been here. He would have loved it. And toodles for Chris. Miss him. I'm sure his family misses him on Thanksgiving. If you guys are sick on your Thanksgiving, just know that wellness is right around the corner. And the song in the beginning was my friend's band's song. I don't know if he wants me to reveal anything about it. I just thought it was so good I had to play it. And he's actually going to come on the show in the next couple weeks. So you can refer back to that incredible rendition of Trials and Tribulations from Jesus Christ Superstar. Again, and I know that Todd's family is totally missing him on Thanksgiving. And if you have a loved one who recently died from addiction, my heart goes out to you. And if you are in the throes of addiction, please ask for help. Please talk to somebody. There's a million people in recovery who would love to hear from you, me included. There's a ton of clean people on the Dopey Nation Facebook page who would love to help you out. There's a billion addicts and alcoholics in AA and NA who would love to help you out. if you want help, it's totally out there. Reach out to some people, and they will help you. Anyway, stay strong, Dopey Nation, and toodles for Chris. Thank you. I want to take a walk around the world. I wonder would it do me any good? Until I get some money in my pocket, then I guess I'll just have to walk around my neighborhood. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And I want to take a ride up in the sky. Watch this aeroplane just pass me by. And I want to see a Lear jetliner take a dive, just to show all of these people what it means to be alive. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And my shadow's getting smaller and smaller. And it's time to where I stand. Shadow's getting smaller and smaller. And it's time to where I stand. And I wonder would they pay it any mind when I leave this busted city far behind. I'll take the high road, however far it winds, because peace and love are very, very, very hard to find. And I want to be good so bad. Want to be good so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. Damn it, all these suckers make me mad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And these suckers make me mad, and I want to call my dad, and it's all I ever had.